I stopped defrosting my wife's car every winter morning. So I'm 34 and my wife Megan's 33, and we've been married 6 years. We both work, both leave around the same time, both park in the same driveway. And every winter since we moved into this house, I've been the guy who gets up 20 minutes early to go out in the dark. Like the first year, it snowed a lot in November and I just did it because I was already out there doing mine. She came out, saw her windshield clear, and she was all, "Oh my God, you're the best." And honestly, that felt good, so I kept doing it. Then it stopped being a nice thing and started being a job. By year 3, she wasn't saying thank you anymore. She'd just walk out at 7:40, get in, and drive off. If I was running late and only got hers halfway done, she'd text me from work like, "The back window was still iced, I had to pull over." Not mean about it, just, reporting a problem to maintenance. Last winter's when it actually got to me. I had this stomach thing, was up half the night, and I told her the night before, "Hey, I'm not doing cars tomorrow, I feel like garbage." She goes, "Yeah, no worries, feel better." So the next morning, I'm laying there, and I hear the front door. Then like 2 minutes later, she comes back in and goes, "Babe, it's really bad out there." I said, "Yeah, I told you, I'm sick." And she goes, "I know, I'm not asking you to do it, I'm just saying it's really bad." I laid there for maybe another minute. Then I got up, put a coat over my pajamas, and scraped her car in the freezing cold with a fever because apparently, "I'm just saying" is a request that comes with a countdown timer on it. That was the last winter I said anything about it. This year I just stopped. First morning I did my car, got in, and drove to work. Left hers exactly how the sky left it. I'm sitting at my desk at like 8:15 and my phone buzzes. "Did you forget my car?" I typed back, "Nope," 3 dots for a while. Then, I didn't answer. She called at lunch. "Okay, what's going on?" I was 15 minutes late. I said, "I decided I'm not doing cars anymore." "Since when?" "Since this morning." She kind of laughed, like she was waiting for me to say I was joking. "Is this about something? Did I do something?" And that's the part that got me, honestly. 6 years, and she genuinely could not think of a single reason. I said, "No, I just don't want to." She said, "That's kind of petty," and I said, "Okay," and we hung up. Next morning, she's up at 7:20 instead of 7:40. I hear her banging around in the mudroom looking for a scraper. I have my own in my car. She didn't own one. 6 years of living in this state, and the woman did not own an ice scraper. She came back in and said, "Where's the scraper?" I said, "In my car." "Can I use it?" "I'm using it." She used a CD case. I watched from the window. It took her like 25 minutes, and she got maybe a porthole cleared, like enough to see through if she leaned forward. She drove off looking like a submarine captain. That night, she brought it up at dinner. "This is ridiculous. It takes you what, 10 minutes?" I said, 20. "And I've done it maybe 400 times. She goes, "So you were keeping count?" "No, I'm doing math right now. There's a difference." Then she said, "Fine, then let's split it. You do mine Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll do yours Tuesday, Thursday." I said, "I don't need you to do mine. I've never needed you to do mine. That's the whole thing." She sat there for a second, and then she said the thing that ended it. She goes, "Most husbands would just do it." And I said, "Most husbands' wives say thank you." She didn't say anything, just moved her food around. Then she goes quiet. I said, "Thank you." "When?" "I don't know. At some point." "Yeah," I said, "at some point." She bought a scraper that weekend. The nice kind with the foam handle and the brush on the end, $30, way better than mine. She left it on the counter for like 2 days where I'd see it, which I think was supposed to mean something. Tuesday it snowed 6 inches overnight. I got up, did my car, and I'm sitting there letting it warm up, and she comes out in her work clothes with the new scraper and starts going at her windshield. She's doing it wrong, pushing instead of pulling, and it's taking forever and I can see her hands going red. She looked over at me sitting in my warm car, and she goes loud enough to hear through the glass, "You're really just gonna sit there?" I rolled the window down about 2 inches. I said, "Thank you would have been cheaper than the scraper." She's been leaving 15 minutes earlier every morning since.